They should introduce a new Muppet, the Babadook Muppet. He just shows up in the introduction. Hello, Contrarians listeners, watchers, subscribers. Here we are with another Contrarians warm-up. This one is for our The Babadook episode. This is another Australian movie thrown at us by patron Chaz Fisher, who has made it his mission in life to educate us when it comes to Australian cinema. Super fresh, 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Alex, when I tell people that I don't like kids, I just get weird looks. When Jennifer Kent makes a movie about how kids suck, she gets 98% Rotten Tomatoes. Doesn't seem fair, but good on her and good on us because we get to pick at this movie on Contrarians Corner. But in this warm-up, what we're going to do is give you some extra Rotten Tomatoes quotes, extra trivia. We're going to talk about the trailer, and then, of course, the Josh Gad Minute. But not in that order. So if you're ready, Alex, let's... I can't come up with a way of making the Babadook a verb. Like, let's Babadook into this.
Well, no, yeah, you should say if we're ready, let's let him in.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, but I have to scream it. Tell you, don't let it in.
Yeah, my voice is shot right now from allergies, so that's like you're gonna have to do that for us.
I'm not
when we get to the trailer discussion. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna start as usual with the consensus. 98%. The consensus is the Babadook relies on real horror rather than cheap jump scares and boasts a heartfelt, genuinely moving story to boot. I think this movie has its fair share of jump scares.
Got a couple. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, don't tell me that you're above jump scares, even if you call yourself elevated horror. And is this elevated horror, Alex, or would you rather not think about it and get mad?
No, we talk about it in the episode. It doesn't have the pompousness and pretension that some of those movies, it like Midsummer would.
Yeah. Jennifer Kent is like, I was doing elevated horror before you guys even coined the term. So Jennifer Kent, innocent. Our first quote is from Dan Geary from the Chicago Daily Herald, who says, a supremely original concept starring the Mr. Hyde version of a Dr. Seuss character. Yeah. I guess? Is this like the evil Grinch? I don't really know that many Dr. Seuss characters.
Cat in the Hat?
Yeah. I think the Mike Myers version of Cat in the Hat is the evil version of the Cat in the Hat.
That's fair.
Horton, is that one? The elephant?
Horton Hears a Who.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then what's that book that they give all the graduates? It's called
The Places You'll Go.
Yes. Oh God, I thought that maybe I was just being a little.
No. Yeah, that was a thing. Green Eggs and Ham. That's like the main one. That one, and then the one about one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. I think it's called.
Yeah.
A lot of Seussian influence in my kindergarten, first grade years.
I'm not talented enough to come up with a Babadook rhyme on the spot, but hit us in the comments, email us, just reach out on social media and give us your Babadook Dr. Seuss poem, because that would be fun, and then we'll read the best in a follow-up episode somewhere. That's me making promises. Next, Patrick Bromley from F This Movie says, is to parenting what The Shining is to alcoholism.
Interesting. Scares you away from it, I guess.
Yeah, sets you straight, scares you straight. Mm-hmm. I think it's funny though that, alcoholism is, I think, completely agreed by society a bad thing. Parenting, I mean, not really, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's a new way of looking at that specific kind of a problem that some people have. Be it,
yeah, it's a very interesting way of framing it.
Yeah,
they both drive your friends away. So
yeah, there you go. Next, and we're gonna close with Samuel R. Murian from Parade Magazine, who says, as of 2019, it remains the best horror film so far this century.
I mean, that's incorrect, but
I mean, Long Legs hadn't come out yet in 2019, so who was battling for
Rob Zombie's Halloween.
You know, now you're trying to be funny, but I could probably build an argument about the gives and takes between Halloween, the first Halloween, and the Babadook. In fact, I think I touch on it for a little bit in real talk.
No, that's not correct. That's not. Trying to think of like. I know people would talk about like influential and kind of the Blair Witch was right before the end of the turn of the millennium, but
don't say It Follows because that will make me mad.
No, I mean, I don't even know what I would say would be the best horror film of the last 25 years so of this century. But I could start rattling off ones that I like more than this. Halloween Ends to begin with.
I knew we were gonna in a bad place. If this conversation went on long enough, it was gonna take us to a place I didn't like. But anyway, those were the quotes, Alex. Let's talk about the trailer. Let's have some trailer chatter.
Pretty good trailer in the sense of like it letting you know exactly what to expect in terms of like the progression of the movie and what it's about. But it still does a decent job of, well, depending on your prerogative, it doesn't show just how annoying the kid is, and like doesn't show him hoofing his cousin out of the tree house there.
Yeah, save that as a reward for the audience.
You gotta pay to see that. That's behind a paywall.
Yeah, they should have shown him pushing her, but the money shot of her getting up with the bloody nose, that's for people that paid for their ticket.
Personally, I would say that I like this trailer, and I think it does a really good job of not promising that the Babadook is going to be like this Cloverfieldian monster that comes out at the end of the movie or something. I don't know. I thought the trailer does a really good job of setting expectations while also letting you know what type of movie it's going to be.
I agree with
In some ways, I'm more complimentary of the trailer than I am the movie.
I was going to say, man, you're so positive. I think it's a good trailer in the sense that if you're a horror person, you watch this movie and you're like, yeah, I'll check it out. And I agree that it plays fair with what the Babadook is. As far as a creature, right? When you finally get to see the Babadook or experience the Babadook in the movie, you're not going to feel like the trailer was not playing fair. Mm-hmm. But where I will disagree with you is I think that it plays it up like it's more of a standard horror movie. And I think that people that watch the trailer and they go see the movie might get a little antsy during those first 30, 40 minutes where it's just the mom and the kid having a very difficult relationship that has very little to nothing to do with the Babadook. It's just, I think the trailer undersells the big drama of being a single parent with a difficult child, and that is a big part of the movie. But of course, I get that that's not a hook that's gonna get people to watch your horror movie. So you have to focus on the creepy book and it hits all the notes. You see her burn the book. You see her go to the police station.
And the cop's like, are you sure about that?
Yeah. And then you have the doctor going like, all kids have imaginary monsters.
And she's crying, not like this.
Yeah. They don't really give anybody time to shine other than Amelia. I remember the name of the actress. S.E. something, right?
Mm-hmm.
She gets the spotlight, and you're right.
S.E.
Because, Davis. If they gave more screen time to the kid in the trailer, it might put you off because that kid's just, and that's not it's not a criticism of the performance. It's just that that's the way that the character is designed. I think it would be a put off if you just saw it. Sadly, no website that I could see. Now, ever since like that one we did where they had that, it was the Sun that had the sunmovie.com or whatever. There was no babadook.gov
TV.
Yeah. So I
guess it would be .aus in this situation.
Oh yeah, you're right. Just don't click on the babadook.exe because that's probably gonna download.
It's also malware into your computer.
Yes. Every time you try to turn it off, it just goes Babadook. It closes with the voice of the Babadook, which is honestly creepier in the trailer than it is in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to explain it, is I guess in the movie you have so much build up to it that when it happens, you're like, well, you know. But in the trailer, it comes at you a lot faster. So maybe. Let us know what you think of this trailer. I feel like, yeah, we're coming at it a lot more positively than I would have expected based on our experience watching the movie. Which, you know, that's a big tease for you to listen to the episode.
Yeah, we just watched the movie yesterday, so I feel that if I watched this trailer and it promised something that wasn't there, I'd be like, "What the fuck, man?" Circling back to the horror movies of the 21st century, I was like coming up with ones in my mind, like just iconic ones, like The Strangers or like Wreck. Have you ever seen Wreck before? The American remake.
Yes, I've seen the Jennifer Carpenter one, the first one. I haven't seen the originals.
It's pretty fucking awesome. But I was thinking, if you polled people, I'm looking here at like the top rated ones, I would bet you would get a lot of 28 Days Later.
Literally what I was thinking, just because it's coming out, like the third one is coming out this year.
And I would also bet you get a lot of The Descent, because people talk about that movie. Like, I'm not saying these aren't definitive statements, by the way, those listening to this. I'm talking about, and depending on, you know, the age bracket, remember like The Grudge and The Ring, how much those movies took over? I think a lot of people would remember.
How about Pulse? I remember Pulse.
Yeah.
With Veronica Mars.
I think people would Drag Me to Hell. A lot of people would probably say. So
White Noise with Michael Keaton.
Well, let's not go too far. Then we're getting into the fourth kind territory with actress Mila Jovovich.
I know we've talked about this before, but I remember where you landed. Would you say Get Out is a horror movie?
Yes and no. If a movie like that has to be called a horror movie so that more people will watch it and then potentially view themselves as more open to horror movies, then that's fine. I'm much more comfortable with the idea of calling Get Out a horror movie than I am calling something elevated horror.
And that was 2019 Get Out, right? So it would be right before, like, it would be included in this guy's statement.
Yeah. Did Jordan Peele won best screenplay for that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID. So yeah, that has to be it. All right. Well, we didn't quite settle it, but I think that we at least threw some options.
We've made a case against. Yeah. All right. So anyway, the Josh Gad Minute. This movie is light on male characters. That's not a knock on the movie. It's just a statement. So honestly, Julio, you know, you could have the CPS agent that comes to the house, but you don't want that with Josh Gad, and we don't want him playing the dad because we see him get half of his head cut off at one point. So honestly, and it seems like the only role, or we could, what was that Wayans Brothers movie, Little Man? We could just make him the little kid in this.
That was going to be my outrageous suggestion. After whatever you said, I was going to be like, Alex, why don't we make him the kid? It'd be more likable.
You don't even have to do that. With every shot can be framed where Essie Davis is like, the chair she's sitting in has her higher than I'm thinking of that SNL skit with Jonah Hill at the hibachi restaurant where he's the little kid and, you know, I'm this many.
You just hire Peter Jackson as a consultant and you just do the perspective shots that he did in the Lord of the Rings, you know, just to make them look
a lot of focus pulls. Yeah. But anyway, obviously the correct answer, or I think the most appropriate way to use Josh Gad would be in the role of Robbie, who's a male co-worker of Amelia's, who clearly has a little bit of a crush on her and tries to be very nice to her. It doesn't really go anywhere, but
exits the movie very quickly.
He'd get a few moments of acting, though.
Yeah, I think that is definitely the one that makes the most sense. But Alex, we have to consider that maybe Josh Gad could play the Babadook.
Yeah, but then I would require seeing the Babadook.
You know, you will recognize his voice when he speaks, and then in the shots where the Babadook looks at its most humanoid, right, when you see him in the background, kind of creepy, that could be Josh Gad. So,
yeah.
And then maybe this is a director's cut where you can see more. Yeah,
wanders around like Zoidberg.
That's my. I'm gonna lobby. That'll be my pitch. I would sit down with Josh Gad and say, "Hey, would you like to be the Babadook?" And if he looks at me funny, I'd be like, "Just kidding. You could be Robbie." You get a couple scenes. But anyway, stew on that. Let's move on to trivia.
The monster design for the Babadook was inspired by the man in the beaver hat in London After Midnight, which is a 1927 film. So that's a Lon Chaney, and there is a couple Lon Chaney shots in this from Phantom of the Opera. So
Right.
that part I gave credit to, that sequence where I thought it was a series of scenes they shot to look like a 1927, music box style film. That might have been lifted directly from it. I've never seen London After Midnight, but of the limited pool of Lon Chaney movies that I have seen, I do enjoy it. This is an interesting one. Director Jennifer Kent holds the rights to the film. When she's been asked if there would be a sequel, she said, "I will never allow any sequel to be made because it's not that kind of film. I don't care how much I'm offered. It's just not going to happen," which makes me wonder if that applies also to like an American remake.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it as long as she stays strong.
Yeah.
And doesn't give in. At the
Which
same
we
time,
have no reason to think she won't. She's not a pro wrestler.
well, at the same time, Alex, let's say you're Jennifer Kent, or you're Alex Mattis. You make a movie that reaches some success, and you make that bold statement in today's industry. You're like, yeah, there's not going to be sequels, spin-offs, nothing. I'm an artist. And then 10, 20 years pass by, and you find yourself, for whatever reason, needing money because your grandkid wants an Xbox or something. You want to take your whole family to Disneyland. That shit's expensive. And the studio comes knocking and it's like, "Hey, have you changed your mind? You haven't made a movie in a while, and our money's still good." Would you judge anyone for saying yes at that point? Like, if they held on for so long?
Depends on what it is.
Because I think it's easy to, like, if you're Robert Zemeckis, right? And you're like, "We're never remaking Back to the Future." I'm assuming that he has the power to say that because it hasn't happened. So that makes me think that Zemeckis and Bob Gale are probably the ones that are calling the shots there. So good on him. But at the same time, yeah, when you're Robert Zemeckis, money is not a problem. So you have the luxury of saying, "Nah, you know what? You can keep your check. I'm gonna hold on to my artistic integrity." But I mean, I would like to think that Jennifer Kent's going to go on to have a prosperous career. She has 2 movies under her belt, but if, let's say, like it happens to so many filmmakers, she doesn't make anymore, she finds herself at a spot where she's not making movies that make money, right? Would it really be fair of me to say, "Yeah, you shouldn't. You should still protect the Babadook above anything else"? That's the thing that matters, that the Babadook doesn't get a sequel.
No, it's one of those things that I like the idea of the artistic integrity at the same time. Everyone bows down to the almighty dollar. Everyone kisses the ring at some point. So if someone offered her $10 million, who am I to say no?
Like, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You can have it. I'll write it. Still, I mean, would you watch a Babadook sequel?
Maybe not a direct sequel. I guess I'd be interested in an American version, but
yeah,
with Josh Gad, preferably. The movie had a campaign where you could buy a copy of the hand-created Babadook pop-up book. Yeah, you mentioned that in the episode. For $80. The first 2,000 copies are numbered and signed by the director, and the book contains pop-up pictures as well as additional pages not seen in the movie. The campaign was open for a limited amount of time, in which roughly 9,500 books were sold.
That's amazing. Tell me you don't want one right now.
I wish I liked this movie more so I could have the thrill of tracking it down. Let's see here. A quick Google search here. All right, here's one on eBay for $600.
Not gonna happen.
I don't want it that bad. The problem is I'm immediately seeing things on Etsy that are like replicas. So you'd have to do your research to know which ones were like the original ones and not ones that were just cloned by bootleggers.
Right. Because she only signed the first 200, right? But they sold 950. So there's a bunch of
2,000 and then 9,500.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So just under 10,000.
Right.
But still, people are malicious and they bootleg shit constantly. And you have to be vigilant. Because I'm seeing right here, like one on eBay, $600, one on Etsy, $130. And most of the time, they'll tell you in the description it's a replica, not like an authentic one, but people don't know how to read. There's people that get online and think they found like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie poster for $50. It's like, okay.
Gotta read the fine print, friends.
Several female critics were offended by the portrayal of Amelia, stating that no mother would ever mistreat her son like that.
Fuck right off.
Again, we don't have kids, but I can almost categorically guarantee you that no parent's journey is exactly the same as another's. And I think mothers can relate to each other, fathers can relate to each other, parents can relate to each other, but I think it's different for everybody.
I have seen parents lose their shit in similar ways, and there was no Babadook haunting them, so I can buy this happens.
Director Jennifer Kent said that she was approached by several women afterwards who admitted that being a mother is hard, and it would sometimes give them negative thoughts about mistreating their children, even if they would never act on such ideas. There you go.
That's the rational response.
So Jennifer Kent had previously known Essie Davis. They went to drama school together, and she specifically wanted her for the role, knowing that she would bring the right amount of heart to the character.
Just the right amount. You don't want to make it too lovable.
We talk about this a little bit in the episode, and while I'm thinking about it, I forgot to read off here that the Babadook premiered at the Sundance Film Festival on January 17th of 2014, moved to a release in Australia in May of 2014, then, of course, just kind of trickled throughout the world after that. Budget of $2 million with a box office return of about $10.5 million. Was not a big financial success in its home country of Australia. It's only when it moved on internationally that it started really racking up some cash. And despite the fact that it was accepted for Sundance, Jennifer Kent feared American audiences would dislike its unconventionality. That's a word I don't read too often. Unconventionality. There we go. She was relieved when the film was well received in the U.S. and got excellent reviews. So, Jennifer, never underestimate the morbidity of Americans. The only thing I would fear for you is your movie might be a little bit too smart for most Americans.
Yeah, what they didn't mention is that all those critics that were like, a mother would never, all American.
Yeah. The the white women that have their children wear shirts that say lions, not sheep, or, like by their babies, those unvaccinated and proud onesies and shit.
We're having a good time here, Alex. Why do you have to start making my blood boil?
You're going to tell me I'm wrong?
No, but this is a safe space.
This is a safe space. I'm sorry. Interesting one here. In Hebrew, Babadook means he is coming for you. So,
man,
lock the doors. And in closing, this is kind of just a fun anecdotal piece of trivia that really has nothing to do with the movie itself. In my initial research for it, a lot of like the when you Google something, they'll come up with that people also ask, or like the pre-filled questions.
Yeah.
Several of them had to do with the Babadook being an LGBT film, like celebrating the LGBT community. And I was like, so I didn't look into it when I did my initial research because I wanted to watch the movie and see if there was like any like thematic shit I could read into about that. And I watched it. I was like, no, like I not even if I squint, I can see something like that. So then I looked into it. And I guess what had happened was when it initially went up for streaming on Netflix, they posted it under the subsection LGBTQ films. Like that's where it got uploaded. And like, I guess out of irony or just kind of the comedy of it all, since then, it's become a bit of a meme, and the Babadook is kind of a symbol of sorts in the LGBT like movie community and whatnot. I don't know like how deep that penetrates and how much that like if you show any member of the community that image, they would immediately like get the joke or whatnot. But I thought that was pretty funny. Just the idea of
so that's what the B stands for in LGBTQ Babadook.
Like I'm trying to think, it's like the birdcage, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. What are some other like historic gay films?
Milk.
Brokeback Mountain, and then like the Babadook's there. Like,
Did not expect this conversation to end with a revelation that the Babadook is a queer symbol, but fuck it. That's amazing. I am glad that I might be in on the joke.
yes,
I guess if you're a member of the LGBTQ community and you're not deeply offended, please let us know if this is the case. I mean, it's on the internet, so I guess some people believe.
Yeah, nothing on the internet's offensive, but no, like that's. I thought it was just some weird Google algorithm thing, and that's a tough one back to back. But like the IMDb page brings it up, and I read it a few other places that it's kind of just this kind of tee-hee joke of, posted in the wrong place at the wrong time. And
dude, they should just, and maybe they already have, but the next Pride Parade, just have a float that's the Babadook.
Oh my god, let us in.
Yeah. All right. Enough of the Babadook. Before we close this down, as we are doing with my shirt and any video that we do from here on, livestream for the Cure. This is from the 8th edition last year. So this year's livestream number 9. We raise money for cancer research. We join Nick Haskins and his team, and we just do stuff. We do our own thing for an hour, and we try to get donations. So this year, we're doing it on May 17th, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. Just join us. We'll be doing a lot of fun stuff. We're still discussing the details, but you just know it'll be a good time. You can go there, donate if you want to, but at the very least, show up and just participate, because it'll be, like we've done the past few years, very interactive, and you'll have fun just in the chat, listening to us do our Contrarian thing in a live venue, which is always nerve-wracking. So we expect your support. If you like this video, you'll like what we do on the live stream. But live stream for the Cure, we'll put the details on our social media. Just keep an eye out for that. May 17th. So that being said, Alex, we don't have a next movie. We have a next event, because the Babadook is how we close April. The next 4 months for the summer, we have our summer event, which is all about past MTV Movie Award winners, specifically from the 90s. So we haven't decided the lineup yet, but whatever we cover is going to be an MTV Movie Award winner of at least one award. It could be Best Kiss, Best Fight, Best On-Screen Duo. We'll see. But it's a lot of fun. I expect a lot of engagement from those 90s people that share our love for that decade. We seem to have a lot of them among our listeners. So keep an eye out. We'll announce the lineup in a future video. But that's it for now. That's it for the Babadook. Thank you for watching. Thank you for checking out the show. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Take care.